Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Millennial Mrs. podcast. I am your host, Trinae Watson, and I am excited today to have Miss Katrina Williams on the show. Welcome, Katrina.
Happy to be here.
So happy to have you. So, for those who don't know who you are, do you want to introduce yourself for who you are?
My name is Katrina. I am co-owner of Kimby Designs Business, LLC. And then you can find us at kimbydesignsbusiness.com. It's a printing company focused on empowering others through unique designs and custom creations, reminding people that they are kind, intelligent, never alone, and brave. That's the acronyms for Kimby. And Kimby aims to raise awareness to common face issues by men, women, and children, and promote healing and self-love through symbolic clothing and branded merchandise. We create our products with embroidery. We do DTF printing, inkjet printing, sublimation printing, and it's basically like, we have our own brand, but we can build your brand up too from anything you need, like flyers, postcards, posters, banners, um, literally anything, car fresheners, like it's no item too big or no item too small. And then we can do basic stuff or unique stuff. And you could just be yourself and you could be anything. So we don't limit ourselves and put ourselves in a box like, oh, I'm only doing shirts. Like, no, we can do tumblers, we can do cups, we could do leggings, like we can literally do anything and
Leggings,
everything that
okay.
you see. Yeah, everything you see on our website, I created, I made, but I could also do that for your business as well. So it's like if you want to start a clothing line and you want to start your own brand, I could do your own brand too. I could also design your website, like literally unlimited. So
I love that. And so what got you into entrepreneurship?
So it's real funny. The first when I first started doing shirts because I saw an ad on Facebook where you can make 10,000 a month doing shirts. And I was like, oh shoot, I want to make 10,000 a month. Let me go ahead and learn how to do some shirts. Because I don't know nobody making 10,000 a month. So I was like, let me see if I can make 10,000 a month doing some shirts. So I just started doing it. And then once I was like, oh wow, I know how to do this. Then it was just like I just never knew I could do all these things. Then I just started doing other things like making tumblers. I'm like, oh, I can make tumblers too. Then I started making keychains. I'm like, oh, okay, I can make a keychain. So then I was just doing stuff for like my family and friends. And I always was helping somebody with their business, but I never thought like, let me do this for myself. Like I always would help my brother with his business, or if somebody needed something help, I'm like, girl, we don't gotta pay nobody. I can do that for you. Like, and I just do it for him because I knew how to make flyers. I'm always been creative, but I don't know, it just happened like where I'm like, okay, I could do this. And then once I did this, started doing it, I was like, wow, now I need a business name. And my little brother actually wanted it to be Kim Butler, like Kin Butler, because that's my maiden name, Butler. And I was just like, I'm not feeling it. So then I really brainstormed like, well, let it be an acronym for Kim B. Like let it stand for something. I don't want to just be Ken and Butler. I wanted to mean something, stand for something, be beneficial to people. So then I came up with kind, intelligent, never alone, and brave. And then I was like, well, let me dive deeper into that. Like, I want to do my own clothing line and my own brand, but I want it to really mean something and not just be like, I'm just throwing clothes out there. Like, I can go get a vendor because, you could easily go get a vendor and sell clothes, but I wanted to
Right.
actually
And
have
anybody can
symbolic
do that.
meaning. Yeah, like you just go get a vendor, start selling clothes. You can start selling things. You could do that. But I was like, I want my clothing, I want the brand to mean something. And then I was like, well, I was going through, I started going to therapy because I was like, I'm having problems with relationships. It's like I keep meeting like people that weren't good friends to me or didn't wasn't kind. Like I'm a kind person and I'm giving, and that's my superpower. I'm kind, I'm giving, and I help everybody. So, but then I'll meet these people that wasn't nice to me, and it's like, well, dang, like, am I attracting these people? Is this something wrong with me? Let me go to therapy. So I started going to therapy, and then I was like, that's when I realized I need to set boundaries. So then the shirt that I produced was setting boundaries like my life depended on it. That was the first shirt I did. I was like, all right, we're gonna put setting boundaries like my life depended on it because these people will have the audacity to play with you and you gotta just like set them
Well, the
boundaries so nobody
audacity
play
is
with
at an
you.
all-time high these days.
Yes. So I wanted to, and then I was like, well, how do I set boundaries? Because I tell these people that I don't like this. And it's like you can, if you set a boundary without like a consequence, then it just become a preference. So you have to have like a consequence. And if they cross this boundary, then you have to have a consequence for it. Or now it's just become your preference and you just want to let everybody walk all over top of you and like every time. So it's like, all right, cool. Well, now we gotta set boundaries. So that was um the first shirt that I did, setting boundaries like my life depended on it. And then I started having like problems in my marriage and I was like, you know
Wait a
what?
minute, wait a minute,
I
wait a
don't
minute. Let's back
know.
up. Let's back up. You gave us a lot. You gave us a lot. So let me take it back. So you decided to go to therapy, which is something that we definitely highlight as a woman. It's something that I say is a form of self-care. And it's definitely something that we all have to embrace. So from going to therapy, how do you feel like therapy has helped you as a woman? Like outside of a business owner, outside of a wife, outside of all those things, how do you think therapy has helped you?
Therapy helped me come up with strategy. I feel like I'm always the person that, all right, that happened, that didn't happen to me. I'm on to the next. So it helped me well, the therapist, she said, since I'm always on the go, because I really am, and she's like, you're gonna have to stop and marinate and grieve, like let the childhood you catch up to the teenage you, to the adult you. And that's how she put it. And I was just like, well, why do I gotta do that? Like, I just look, that happened. Like, let me go ahead and it's now on to the next. So it always been what's next. All right, that happened, what's next for me. So it's like now you gotta stay and really analyze and self-reflect um,
I feel like
and
that's like
come
a
up with
trauma
strategy.
response. I've gone through that, whereas I don't take a moment to, if something bad happens, I instantly go into strategy mode. Like, okay, it
Hmm.
happened. It's no point in crying over spilled milk. Like, we can cry about
That's
it
how I
later, but
feel.
right now, we got to pick it up and we got to go. And so I feel like because I'm like that, I oftentimes, like for instance, I lost four family members at once on a Saturday, and I went to class on Monday. Um,
That would be
because
me.
in my mind, me not going to
Your life
class
don't.
is going to solve what?
Hmm.
I can cry on the way to school, and I can cry when I
Hmm.
get out of class, but
Yep.
I'm going to go sit in class. And, but I think that also makes me come off as like a way, like when other people like be going through stuff, I sort of kind of be like, girl, if you don't get up, we got stuff to do. Like you could we don't have time for
Right.
that. We don't have time for that. So
And
I
that's
think it's a
that's
trauma
exactly how I am.
response.
It really is. I do the same thing. And like even one of my friends, her mom just passed, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna give you like 2 weeks to grieve, but then we gotta get back to it. So it's just like I'm like, I know I need to be sometimes a better friend that asks that because it's like, all right, you got 2 weeks, get yourself together because we can cry, but now you gotta still, your life gotta go. I feel like your life still goes on even when people pass. Like my mom passed, I lost my mom, and she was my best friend. And I cry. Like I still cry to this day. She's been gone for 10 years now. So I cry in the car, like you said, like, or I'll be going through something. I just cry it out and then let's go ahead and do what we gotta do next. Like, and shoot,
And
I
I
feel
think
it's
I
definitely a
think that
trauma
it's
response.
important to let the cry out. Like I'm not suggesting that you don't cry. I'm not suggesting that you don't get it out. I'm just saying we can't cry and then stop. That can't be the
Right.
ending. Yes, yes.
You can't just sit in your house in your pajamas and lay in bed all day because your bills are still going to come every month. Like you still got to put food on if you got kids like me, you still got to put food on the table. You still got
Yes.
to go to that grocery store. You got to get up and get out of bed, sis. Like you
Now,
got to
now
really
this is
get
the
up.
kicker. You just now brought up a good point. So I had postpartum really bad after I had my first son, and I do remember a time where I did not want to get up out the bed. I did not want to do anything, and I remember like for me to get up, it felt like I had like a ton of bricks on my back. Like I felt like it was just so heavy. Like for me to do anything, I felt like was heavy. So I do feel like I am empathetic in those types of situations because I do understand it can be hard. Like it can be really
Hmm.
hard. But I also know on the other side of that, if I did not have the people pushing me, I feel like it would have got worse for me. Like I remember like being in the house, having the blinds closed, sitting in the dark all day, not eating, not sleeping, not doing anything. Arlen would be at work and the baby would be with his mom because she used to babysit AJ when he was younger. So I wasn't working at the time. So I would just be in the house in the dark, not doing anything. And I remember my friend Christy, she would come over and she was like, nope, we about to do something. What we doing today? You gonna eat
Right.
something, even if it's something small. And she was the one, she even got me a job. She was like, you need to get out the house. We have a position open. Come. That way I can really keep my eye on you. And I started as like a secretary, like I was an admin, and I literally started in that position. And initially, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Like realistically, I lived in like the White Marsh area, and I worked in Woodstock, so I would have to drive to like Owens Mills type area. But like it was days I cried the whole way on 695,
Hmm.
but it started to give me like a purpose of okay, laying in the bed all day crying all day is not a thing. And I thought I was really doing something by going from the bed to the couch but still being sad. So I do recognize that sometimes it's harder than ever, but looking back I think I credit of course God, but I also credit like the not the tough love but like the nudge. Come on, we can do it, you can do
Yeah, the
it.
nudge. You guys. And you gotta give yourself grace. I learned to give myself grace. When I had my last son, I lost a lot of blood, so they gave me so much medication. And I thank God for having a support because sometimes people don't have that support too. So my husband was able to care for our son. But I couldn't get out of bed. I really felt like I got ran over by 10 tractor trailers. And because I was so medicated. So I would cry, beat myself up like I'm not a good mom, like I'm not good enough. Like I can't even I was so medicated, I couldn't even hear my son cry. So I was like, what type of mother don't hear their son cry? Like, what is wrong with me? Like, and he like, yo, you just had a baby. And I'm like, but that doesn't, I already had 4 kids before them. So it's like, I always been, all right, I'm up, I'm on a routine with my kids, and I'm doing this, A, B, C, D. I got a planned out from A to Z. And then with this kid, I'm just like a helpless nobody. So I was like, and I was down for like 2 months, like just laying in the bed, being on medication. And I had to learn how to give myself grace because I couldn't. I couldn't forgive myself. I couldn't do that. So it was just like, dang, I really like that's the whole point of, if you have like a husband or a baby father, they there to help. Like you're not supposed to do everything by yourself. So it was okay to get help. But that was a trauma response for me because it's like I'm so used to doing everything by myself. I didn't have anybody to help me, or I never had a chance to be weak. I always had to be strong for myself and for my children. So this time around it's like, dang, like I need him. Like, and that was the first time I actually needed somebody. And it's just like I had a chance to be weak and I didn't like the way it felt.
Well, I'm not going to say that you were being weak. I'm going to say you had a chance to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
We're gonna say vulnerable. You had a chance to be vulnerable because you're absolutely right. You should be able to lean on your partner. I think a lot of times when you have not had to lean on your partner and you're so used to doing it on your own. So you had five children. How old were you when you had your
Mhm.
first child?
17.
So at 17, you still was a kid yourself, having a child, but you had to figure it out. So coming into a situation where now you're depending on somebody else, I'm sure that was an adjustment. Like to figure out, like, okay, I don't have to do it all on my own. I don't have to figure it out all on my own. I can lean on somebody else.
Hmm. And it was definitely an adjustment.
So how is that for so let me back up. So I met Katrina through my friend Tiffany. Tiffany has the I Am brand, and from that I met Katrina, and I was able to support Katrina and go to because Katrina has supported me in several events. But also I was able to return that support by attending your brunch that you have. And I want to kind of get into your brand, Nope to Defeat. I think it kind of goes in alignment with, you and what we've already been talking about. So how did you come up with Nope to Defeat?
um, Well, I felt at that moment, I felt defeated. I felt destroyed. And I was like, nope, this not me. You're not gonna be that girl. You're not gonna feel defeated. You're not gonna be destroyed. And then I just did the affirmation. I will not be bound. I will not be destroyed. I will not be defeated. And I was like, yep, we gonna say no. We gonna say no to a lot of stuff that I don't like. So I did no to defeat, but I also did like no to stress, no to depression, no to anxiety. So it's like um a whole line of nopes. And it's
No,
just
I
like
love
stuff that we
that.
face daily. And it's like nope to fake love because people can fake love you too. So it's just like nope. And it just went down to nope, nope, nope. Um it's like, no, this not going to be your life. Like, you're not going to be sitting here all defeated. Like, we all have a purpose and we're all very powerful. And we just got to tap into it. I do feel like mental illness is real. People do experience mental illness, and sometimes um, it don't occur until later on in life. And my husband, we end up fighting real bad. So we end up fighting real bad, and it happened so all of a sudden. It happened unexpectedly. It was like, why is this happening right now? Why am I fighting for my life right now for somebody? I thought we was in a loving, happy place. I thought we was in a loving, happy place, and I just didn't understand why it was happening and why was this happening to me right now. Now as I reflect, I didn't get a restraining order or go or take him to court. I really think it was probably a mental illness he was going through. He was adopted when he was a kid, so he doesn't know who his father is, and his mom died at a really young age, so he didn't have his mother and father. So I know with some relationships you look at their family and their family tree. We never looked at that. So who's to say like that's not hereditary or that didn't happen there? It happened out of the blue. It was it's no explanation for what to happen. And it was just like I felt defeated after that. And it was just like, how can we be so happy and in a loving place and then this happens? So I felt broken. And I was like, I'm here fighting for my life. And this man is really trying to break me. And I was just like, I couldn't have an idea why. So I was like, nope, we're not gonna feel defeated or destroyed. That happened. Now look, move to the next. What we getting a divorce. We done. Um what's next? Now we
No, I
just gotta go
definitely
ahead and
think
figure
if
out.
if anybody is ever in a situation where they are not safe, safety has to take priority. Whether mental health is involved or not, safety definitely has to take priority. So I'm happy to hear that you and your children are in a safe environment, and in something that you guys can be secure in. Security, I think a lot of times, oftentimes people take safety and security to only mean like the physical, um like you physically put your hands on me, but like safety and security also is like an emotional side. Um,
Hmm.
being safe enough where I can be vulnerable with you. I think safety and security is also a financial side. Being able to trust and know and lean on your significant other to know that they've got your back in that way. Um, so I think across the board, those are like the many facets of marriage that we all want to be successful in, but sometimes we all fall short in those areas. So,
Hmm.
for you, how have you navigated? Are you guys officially divorced or still separated?
We're still separated. We're waiting for the court date
Okay.
to have the actual divorce, but I think that's the final step, is just waiting for the court date.
So, how have you navigated life going from being a single parent to being a wife, being in a two-parent household to navigating back to a single parent household?
I feel like it still is basically you take one day at a time. It's still hard. It's like how, and I think therapy really has a important part to play in it. Like I got my kids therapy because this is a change. We uprooted everything. Like when it happened, I left my house. I left my marriage. They got to go to a new house, new school, new friends. I uprooted them. I uprooted them and left. And so I got them therapy to make sure they're emotionally okay and to remind them that, their emotions. They seem very happy and they seem and I talked to them. We have a good relationship where, and I thank God for that. They have a good relationship where you can talk to your kids and they can talk to you about how they feel. But I know as a mom or a parent in general, kids sometimes don't want to tell you everything, and they'll probably sometimes feel comfortable with telling somebody else before they tell you. So I wanted to set that up and play, like whatever you probably don't feel comfortable talking to me about, maybe you can talk to your therapist and they can help you. Um, because I
We
know
have to
everything they
normalize
don't
that
want
in
to
our
talk to you about.
community because a lot of times we always say what goes on. So, funny story, my oldest son, he's in therapy, and when he went to therapy, he would not talk to the therapist. And that was my fault because, I feel like in our community, what do we say? Like, our business is our business. Don't go
Mhm.
telling our business. And I don't think that I did it intentionally, like in that way. I've just always taught them like our home business. And again, it wasn't necessarily something bad. Like for instance, like children will just tell anything, like the most random things, and it's like that is nobody else's business. Like what we ate for dinner last night is nobody's business. So it started like that. Not necessarily, oh, we got bad stuff going on and don't tell anybody, but he took it so literally that like after like a couple sessions, like his therapist was like, listen, can you come into the session with him, with me, and tell him that it is okay to talk? Because I would always like tell his therapist, like, oh, this happened, this happened, this happened. Like, I hope that, y'all can talk about this and things like that. And she would be like, no, he didn't say anything. And so, of course, she couldn't tell me like detail for detail, but it would be more so like, he obviously is not going to talk to me. And so
Right.
I had to like tell him it is okay. You can talk in therapy about what you need to talk about, son. Go ahead, get it out. You can tell her you mad at me. Tell her what I do. I told you you had to go to
That's how I had to
bed.
tell them to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good. Tell the kids they can talk to the therapist. Let them have the outlet. I think teaching children at young ages that they should go to therapy so they don't have to be adults harboring a whole bunch of childhood trauma that has never been unpacked. I would much
Hmm.
rather you unpack this. I remember as a kid I went to therapy. I feel like when my mother and my father broke up, I was really, really, really young though. Maybe like 5 or 6 and probably 5. I went to therapy, but I remember like only going a couple times, and my mother always laughed because she was like, "Well, I thought something was wrong with you, or you was gonna be heartbroken, but you were fine." And so, but then
Bless
later,
you.
yeah, like it was fine, but then like when I sit back and I think, I'd be like, it was so much other stuff I feel like happened in my life that caused more trauma than their breakup. So like. I would have wished that me as a child would have had the opportunity to go to therapy as a kid. Because now as an adult, I'm like, oh well, this happened, but I'm okay. And then in therapy, I'm like realizing like I am okay, but as a result of that, I now do this, and like this is not okay.
Yeah, right. But that's exactly how I feel. I was like, I feel like my kids are doing great. Like they are happy. They do things, but then like you said, it's other things that go on. Like they be going to school, so something happened in school. School be life sometimes to them. So it's like, all right, cool. Like right now, my 5-year-old, I'm like, I told his therapist, I said, I really feel like it's no point of doing this, but I might just keep doing it. Because he don't talk to him. He don't talk to him. Even with me sitting there, he don't talk to him. And I'm like, well, I said, we gonna just keep it, see how it goes, but I'm over it.
It's
And
like
I
you trying
think
to
he
set them up,
over
but
it.
then like it's also like I believe children are very resilient. Like I think that children have the ability to kind of bounce back. I think about like some of the things that I've endured, and I think that this generation is a lot different than our generation. I like to say that this generation is a lot softer. Because listen, we could get the whole door thrown at us and we still coming out swinging, whereas these kids are like, oh my God, I'm dying. And it's like, pause. But
My
did you
daughter cried
die?
when
You
TikTok got
didn't.
shut down.
Yes.
My daughter cried when TikTok got shut down. Okay, I took a video of her crying because I'm like, I'm gonna show this when you get older that you really sit here crying
It's
about
horrible
TikTok.
because they
Like,
don't
why
know
are
how
you
to
crying?
operate. Listen, they don't know how to operate without a device.
Yep.
I remember the devices we had was those little, remember the little handheld thing? They was real small, the little Jenga, I don't know the
Yep.
name. And you used to get like all different ones and like, ooh, I'm gonna do this one. And I got this one. Like that was a device. I remember I got my first, I had a pager and you couldn't tell me nothing. I thought I was hot stuff. Like, who about to page me? I don't know, but I got my pager. You better page me.
Right. Here's my number page. Yep.
Yes, and I didn't even have like the fancy pager, like a two-way that you could leave a message. No, I had a real pager. You put a phone number and somebody called you back. So these kids have no idea. I'm from the land of you calling landlines and you had to speak to the
Hmm.
parent to talk to the kid. Hi, can I speak with so and so? Like these kids don't know what to do because they so used
They
to calling the
don't know.
cell phone and yeah.
Yeah, and then the question the therapist asked me was like, "Do your kids know their house number?" And I'm like, "Well, we don't have a house phone. We got cell phones." And I said, "It's so many different cell phone numbers in here." I was like, maybe I should teach them at least my number." But I was like, "Yeah," it gave me something to think about. Well, we don't even have a house phone. Like,
And
no, they
but for
don't
the
know the
longest,
number.
we've had a house phone and the house phone is not even plugged up. So like having we had a house phone because it came in the package and it made sense. But no, like call me for all things. I will answer. Just know my number. And that's just what it's gonna be. Gone are the days of having a number. I remember my grandmother still has the same phone number that she had since I was a kid. Like landline, like at her house, same
Hmm.
landline at her house. So I think, yeah, we just don't have that kind of stuff in our generation. We just don't.
Right.
We
Nope.
don't. But no, so I think that that is hilarious, like seeing these kids and how they are operating. So tell me how let me go back to your event. At your event, you really brought up something that spoke volumes to me. You talked about Tiffany's event being the I am enough and the I am whatever the word is. And you talked about how before a person can declare who they are, they got to say no to a lot of things to get rid of some of those misconceptions and things. And I think that that's so good because it's sort of kind of like putting clean clothes on a dirty body. And
Hmm.
if already spill ketchup here, spill mayonnaise here, spill some chicken grease here, and then I'm gonna put some new clothes on. The new clothes can be nice and whatever, but eventually the ketchup, the mayonnaise, the chicken smell is all gonna come out of those clothes. So saying no to some of those things is so crucial. So tell me about your experience in saying no to some things. Nope.
Yeah, I think self-reflection and journaling has a lot to do with that. Like you have to really self-reflect. And then I do realize and I do understand some people don't remember their childhood. And that's okay. Give yourself grace, but
Mm.
recognize what you have going on right now that's like toxic traits, like what is toxic that you're doing or what is not healthy that you're doing. Um, and if I feel like more than two people are telling you about it, then it got to be true. Like about yourself. Like you always, I don't know, I'm gonna say be passive or deflect something. Like, well, you get very confrontational when somebody just asks you a simple question. Like that's stemming from somewhere. Find out where that's stemming from because you gotta fix it because you can't go and just go off the deep end because you took it the wrong way. Like I'm just going off on you because I took something the wrong way. And it's like, no, you gotta say nope to that. Like nope to that. That type of behavior because you can't move forward or be I don't know if you see a lot of people that starting a business and they from the hood, they from the ghetto, and they taking those traits and it's okay. It depends on what like audience you move it to, but you can't go and be like, yeah, because F you and F you this and like in a business setting. You can't be all ghetto like that. So it's like, why are you doing that? And you guys see why you can't transition over to a more professional setting. Why like I did an event and I'm one of the people that like to put people on. So it's like if I'm rising to the top, I want to take you with me. So it's like because I know your brain aligns with my brain. So I do events, I host events and set up for events where I do like the decorations and then I'll get a balloon person. So the balloon person, she's just like really ratchet. And I'm like, this is not a good look for my brain. Like, and I'm just like, girl, we gotta sit down. If we gonna continue, you gotta do this. And she's like, it's nothing wrong with me. And la la la. And I'm like, it's not nothing wrong with you, but sometimes in certain situations we just gotta calm down. Like you going off on
But
everybody.
I also think that exposure is everything. I think back for me, growing up, I lived in what most people would consider the ghetto at some points. I lived in Baltimore City. There were times I lived in the
I did too.
projects. There were times that I lived, in some rough neighborhoods. But one of the things, even when I lived in those neighborhoods, my mother always told me, you may live around here, but this is not who you are. And exposure was key. So being exposed to a different life, and different opportunities was something that really helped me. Again, my family has been really, really big on education. So because of that exposure, it was just certain things that I was not going to do and I was able not to do. But what I've come in contact with, speaking on what you was just saying, what I've come in contact with is some people just don't know. Like some people can have like a great idea. Some people can like do all of the things, but the soft skills of being able to be in a boardroom or, to be able, those transferable skills are not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
polished as we'd like. But I also think it just comes with trying to get her to understand, where do you want your business to go? Do you want to be able to appeal to a broader audience? And if so, you might want to consider shifting just a little bit.
Right.
Because there's nothing wrong
Right.
with you. Nothing is wrong with, I have been in business. I've done business with some people who are rough around the edges, but guess what? They know how to they can attract a crowd that I may not be able to.
Right.
Even though we've
Yep.
come from the same neighborhoods, but just based off of the way
Mm-hmm.
I speak versus the way they speak. the way I come off
Yeah.
versus the way that they come off. So, yeah, I
Hmm.
definitely understand. But you also got to figure out how you want that to align with your business because,
Yeah,
baby,
and that
no, no, no.
because one person can make you or break you, and I'm like, nope, we gotta do something different if we gonna continue this journey, or I'm gonna have to lock somebody else in on the balloons. Um, but
Yes.
she was like, I definitely work on it. She was open minded, and that's why I like if you open minded. I said, I'm not trying to change nobody. Like, don't change yourself. Be who you want to be. But at the same time, it's a time and place for everything. So just know when that time and that place is.
And that time and place just might not be now, but it doesn't mean like I'm not being smart, I'm not being mean or anything like that. But yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah. So that's good. That is really, really good. So tell me about when it comes down to you making time for you. How do you do that? Tell me about your self-care journey.
I journal. I like to watch movies. That's really what I really like to do, is just probably journal and watch movies. But I'm trying to think of something else that I really do. Um, I'm thinking. Yeah, that's really mainly the stuff that I do. Um,
Okay. So if you could go back to your 18-year-old self, what would you tell your 18-year-old self?
um, I would tell my 18-year-old self is if you get a credit card, don't max it out. Don't max it out thinking you don't gotta pay that money back. Just
Listen, so many people don't
financial
understand
literacy.
that. That's very valuable.
Yeah. Financial literacy, save your money up, manage your money, save your money, manage your money, always have an emergency blanket money, um, pay your bills, I always pay my bills, but just like maxing the credit card out, that's credit is a credit. You need credit in this life to do things. Like you can have all the money in the world, but if your credit not right, nobody gonna wanna look. And I learned that when I was trying to move recently, and everybody was turning me down, saying no, 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 because your credit. I'm like, well, I got the money. They don't care
It
about
doesn't
that. They
matter.
don't care how much money you got. No. And then it's a hindrance because now everybody telling you no. So now you got to take the first yes that you're given. And then on top of that, they going to charge you an arm and a leg because now they can because they like, well, your credit ain't right
You're a
anyway. So
liability.
you need me more than I need you. So they going to charge you top dollar. And it's like, dang, you was throwing your money around because you got the money, but you if you had the credit, you would have been if you had the good credit, you would have not have to pay, be working to the goal is to work and not live paycheck to paycheck for me, to have that financial freedom. So it's you can't do that if you paying $3,000 for rent every month. Like and that you can't even buy a house because all you could do is because if your credit not right, you can't buy a house, you can only rent. So now you're paying 3,000 a month in rent, or 4,000 or 5,000. Because I've seen some crazy houses, especially when you got multiple children. So by me having five children, I want a five-bedroom house. So I'm going to do what I can to provide that for my children. So I would just basically tell my 18-year-old self to have financial literacy and manage your money right and budget your money right. Don't be just because you got the money, throw it in the bag.
One of the things that I've realized over time, I never understood it, is the idea that people who have money get things free. They get lower interest rates, which means they're paying back less. You know, you go and you get a car, and if you have good credit, you can get a 0% APR versus if you have bad credit, you could be paying 27% APR on the same vehicle, same thing in the vehicle. So you see that I have bad credit. You see that I make less money than this person, or but I'm paying more because I'm a liability. And
Mm-hmm.
some kind of way you get caught up in it and then you're stuck. You know, you're stuck in a rabbit
You're
hole
stuck in
of
that
this.
cycle. Yep.
Yes. Yes. And
Yep.
so I'm
And you
always
trying to get
like,
out.
yep. I always tell people just because you can afford it doesn't mean that it's the best decision. So even like
Hmm.
when we go and get cars, I hate having cars for a long time. But whenever if I trade in a car, I'm always like, I care more about the interest rate. If the interest rate is not, I don't care
Yeah.
what you're telling me the payment is going to be. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care what you're telling me the payment is going to be. If the interest rate is not what I need my interest rate to be, no, no, under no
Right.
circumstances. Because then you get caught in paying back, and then you upside down. The car
Older people.
depreciates. Like this is already a liability when I pull off the lot
Hmm.
anyway. So what I don't want to be doing is, so upside down in anything that it just does not make good financial sense. I'm sorry.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yes, kids have to see this. I always try to teach my kids, even the youngest, about saving when is a time to spend. And so whenever he wants to buy something, I'm always like, do you have three times that in savings? Because if not, you can't
Hmm.
afford it.
Right. And
Like,
start saving. Like you got $20, put $5 in your savings. Like something like my daughter, she's 14, so she likes to go and walk with her friends and they go to different stores every day. I said, honey, you can't be just spending money every day. Like you just can't. Like you get $20, you're going to go spend it the next day. Save $5, save something. Like you can't just keep going and just spending money or going out to eat every day. It's food in the house. Like
absolutely.
free food in the house. Like, so she'll want to go to McDonald's every day, or she'll want to go to Walmart, or they be just walking up and down to different stores, spending money. And I'm like, you can't do that every single day. Like I said, I wish somebody was older and told me at your age to start saving my money. Because I've been doing hair. That's another hair business I do. I've been doing hair since I was 12. And I'm telling you, I probably could have been a millionaire by now if somebody was telling me to save my money. And I
Hmm.
was like, so take my wisdom and from what I learned from my mistakes and let that be your roadmap so you could be better than me. And that's what I
Yeah.
tell them every day, all the time.
Yeah. That's what we have to do. We have to do, especially in our community. So that is the excellent advice. Excellent advice. So where can people find you and support your business?
They could go to www.kinb designsbusiness.com and then at Can Be Designs on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook.
Okay. And I'll make sure to have it in the link below. So thank you guys. Thank you for coming, Katrina. And thank you all for tuning in to the Millennial Mrs. podcast with me, your host, Trinae Watson and Katrina Williams. Thank you.
Thank you.